around those values. Khushi, if we could move on to the next one.
Sure. Happy to answer that. So Twilio magic values like sounds fascinating, but this is something what we live on our daily life. So Twilio magic values are basically our core values and principles, which each and every Twilians are breathing in and breathing out on a daily basis. And these are the top four magic values we aspire to see in our candidates as well, whoever is interviewing at Twilio. I can take one by one values and I can explain you what does that mean. So one of our core values is builder, being a builder. Clearly means that we love to solve our customers' hard challenges, problems, and we do not consider like it cannot be done. There is always a way. If there is a problem, there is a solution as well. So we have that sort of mentality and bold ideas to solve our problems. And anyone in Twilio can become a builder. Whoever is like either building a team, building a product, building a any it could be any product line. They all are the builders in Twilio right now. The second value, again, the second most important value for us is owners. We consider ourselves as an owners because we see that we feel more empowered when we give more accountability in terms of our work. We take the ownership of our own work and we go above and beyond to complete that task or complete that work. We take these things very seriously and we call ourselves as an owner of Twilio, as an owner of our customers, as an owner of our products, owner of our problems. We are the owners. The next value, which is being curious. So we Twilians, we always believe that you have to be curious to succeed, which means you always seek or you always ask a lot of right questions and you always seek the right answers of those questions. Okay, so as an individual, as a company in our product, we see continuous progress over perfection. And this is something which make us very curious towards our process, towards our company. Last but not the least, positron. We strongly believe that we should empower each other. We should support each other whenever they are in need. We believe that caring is one of the critical part of our journey, and we ask like how we can help them. We always make sure that if somebody is along with us, who are part of our team, who are part of the organization, they are feeling empowered. We are able to help them. We are able to create that positive atmosphere for them. If they are going through a bad phase, we are there to help them. We are there to support each other. So that's the kind of value we see in a positron. So these are like four values, and this is something we incorporate in our interview questions as well, which we will be covering in the next slide. But again, Richard, happy to answer any questions if you have.
No, no, amazing, absolutely. And for everyone who is posting their messages in the chat, would just like to inform you that you guys can post your questions that you want to ask Sameer, and we'll be happy to take them up as we progress at the end of the session, the Q&A section. A lot of people are also sharing their profiles as to what we do. So during the later half of our session today, we also have what roles are open and what kind of positions usually open up at Studio. So hang on, while we move there, we also have a few other things which are really important in order to crack those roles. So let's focus on that first. And of course, moving on to the interview process, some of which everyone is really curious about. That hey, what's the process like? How do I get there? So here's a process that Samir will deep dive into, and it's amazing. You guys can take notes of this, and yeah, let's go for it, Samir.
Sure. Thank you, Richard. All right. So before you come to an interview process, it's very important for you to understand like how you can apply for roles in Twilio. So you can explore our career website, you can go to LinkedIn, go to our LinkedIn page, and you can see our jobs posted there. And we do post our jobs in other various job boards as well, like Glassdoor, Naukri. So now coming to the interview process. So for an example, if you are applying to Twilio, the first thing what we do, which is my team, what they are going to do is going to review your application. That is the very first stage what we do. In this process, we make sure that the candidate who is applying to our roles has the matching skill set They are matching all the expectations as per the hiring manager. They are good with all the tools and technologies what we are seeing against our open roles. So that's the application review we do, which means we shortlist the profile who are relevant. We reject the profiles who are irrelevant to us. That's the first thing what we do. As a second step, once your profile has been shortlisted, one of the persons from my team is going to give you a call to give you some insights around Twilio, to tell you more about the open positions you have applied for. They are going to also cover product line. They are going to also cover the infrastructure of this team, how well this team is functioning right now, what is the aspiration from the hiring managers, what kind of candidate the hiring manager is ideally looking. And we also ask a lot of questions about candidates' skill sets, candidates' previous experience, whether because what we do differently is we just don't check all the boxes whether they have like certain skill sets they are good for the company. No, we don't limit ourselves to that. We ask the right questions, which means if we are hiring for a Java developer, we don't ask you like, okay, do you have Java experience or not? Instead of that, what we ask you like, how effectively have you utilized Java in your current role or maybe in your current project? How would you rate yourself in a scale of 1 to 10 in Java? So these are the questions which we cover during this 30 minute of recruiter phone screen. And if that goes well, if we find that the candidate is meeting all the bars, candidate is good to go with the next round, that's when we move to the next step, which is mini project and assessment stage. And this stage, we share either the HackerRank test to our customers. HackerRank is a platform for assessments, online platform, or we send them a take-home test. So it depends like what kind of roles are you applying for. There are some functional roles where we send the use case study, which is more of a take-home test. But if it's like a technology role, it's a technical role, we send them the HackerRank test, and those HackerRank tests will have certain focus areas, and we give them an SLA or maybe say a deadline for like 10 business days to get back to us with that test. But again, sooner is better, guys. You know, like how competitive the environment is, right? So if that goes well, if the candidate goes really well, if they are able to meet our benchmark, right? That's when they will get an opportunity to meet one of our hiring team members or hiring leaders. So, which we call it as a tech screen. That is going to be your first round of interview with our hiring manager or maybe somebody from the hiring team. And that's when they will cover the coding round with you. And they will talk very high level about the company, about the product they are working on, and what sort of expectations they have from this candidate about this job. They are also going to share some team dynamics. And then in terms of an ideal candidate, what exactly they are looking for. So again, this goes for like 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes it goes beyond 45 minutes as well. Depends on the interview plan, what we decide. But that is your first tech screen, or we call it as a hiring manager phone interview round. And all these interviews happens virtually through a Zoom call. Now, if that round goes well with the candidate is officially moving to our face-to-face round. So this is what we call it as a team introduction round, where we will set up a series of rounds with our interview panel members. So every round will have a different functional area. So for an example, if there are 4 different rounds are scheduled, maybe the first round we will again cover some in-depth coding expertise. We will see how good you are with your designing skills. We will see how well you are with your functional ideas. Maybe like a product manager or a tech program manager will be taking that round. And then there will be additional round based on the hiring manager's expectations of the requirement. We set up the next round as well. So ideally, like the face-to-face round ranges from like 3 rounds to up to 7 rounds as well. Depends on at which level you are interviewing at Twilio. And voila, if that goes well, you are definitely going to get an offer from Twilio. So we always make sure that we are able to get back to you within a span of like 48 hours. And that's when our talent partner teams comes into the picture, because they are the one who preps the candidate for face-to-face interview. They are the one who do the offer negotiation. They are the one who will help you to answer all of your benefit questions. So this is where our talent partner teams comes into the picture. And for some reason, if you are not able to make it to the face-to-face interview, keep your profile safe in our database based on your interview performance. And if any new roles comes into the picture, and if you are able to meet that cooling period, which is 6 months, we will again reconsider your profile for those roles. So that's the life cycle of our interview, and happy to answer any of the questions for you guys.
Pretty amazing and pretty exhaustively covered, Samir. I must appreciate the way you kind of took us to each step in a way and in a way which was very detailed and very nicely orchestrated. So really clear. Really appreciate that. uh, let's say someone wants to prepare for their interview round, right? So how would they do that, and what are the materials that they can refer to in order to prepare? So that would be great. In the meantime, I think our screen sharing has stopped. So Khushi, if you could bring that up, or Divya could bring that up, it will be amazing. In the meantime, would request everyone to share their questions in the chat. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that as well at the back end and cover those during the later part of the session. But yeah, while the screen loads, Samir, any materials that you would ask the people to refer to while they prepare for their tech rounds?
Okay, for the tech rounds, right? So first of all, like whenever you are getting qualified for a round during the recruiter phone screen, our my team members, they are going to provide you an interview guide, which will have almost all the content what we cover in our interviews. As I told you about our interview plans, like what would be the focus area of each and every interview rounds, what are the questions we make our again, like we don't share the questions, but again, like it's more of a focus areas what we pitch it. But the most important thing for us is again our magic values, because we would be incorporating all these magic values in our question. So if you can see the screen, it is clearly written that give details versus the big picture. So this is where we focus on. We focus on the big pictures to understand that how did you manage a situation? All right. So we always encourage all of our external candidates to go through the STAR method of interview. STAR method of interview is nothing but the abbreviation of a STAR is situation, task, action, and result. So whenever you hear this question that tell me about the time when you solved this question, so you should understand that okay, you have to follow the STAR method. There is no other way, and this is one of the well-known strategies of answering any of the questions in the interview. So in this STAR method, what you can do is like you can talk about the situation. You can help us to explain what was the situation like when we were solving some problem. The next thing, which is task, what all tasks were assigned to you when you were solving that problem. Then the next step is basically the action. What are the right actions you have taken to complete that task? And then the last is the result. Result could be positive, could be negative. We appreciate both because we focus more on your effort. What sort of effort have you put? It can go wrong. We know we all are humans, but we focus more like what was your strategy? What sort of effort have you put? Right? So this is like your go-to guide. If you are interviewing for Twilio, just make sure that you are going through the STAR method of interview. You are preparing yourself pretty well. Think about some of the solid examples from your previous organization, from your previous projects you have supported. Talk about those scenarios where you feel that you have created an impact, and we would love to hear that what sort of impact you have created for your organization and what you bring up to the table for us. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
super.
pretty much it.
I think the framework which you mentioned is really amazing because as a candidate now I know what to expect and how I should like organize my answer, right? I have experienced people bringing up solutions and things that they did, but I did not know in what situation they did that, right? So I could not truly appreciate that effort and everything because there was no context. But the way you kind of suggested and the way you help people organize and visualize, it's really amazing. I think that's certainly suitable for any interview, not just Twilio. So that's amazing. Let's dive a little bit about remote first culture at Twilio, right? So a lot of people are great at doing things, executing things, but they need someone to be with them to handhold a lot of times, right? In remote environments, specifically in a company like Studio, where your counterparts can be in different teams, the communication can happen in an asynchronous way. What are the traits that people need and look at when they succeed? help us get into that understanding of remote first culture at Twilio. And
Okay,
we can
so
go to the next one. Yeah.
sure. Happy to explain that, okay? But before we get into the remote first culture, like you should know that why Twilio has taken that step, right? So in 2022, right, when pandemic was getting over and we were uh, getting back to our normal life, where like few of the companies were asking employees to come and work on site. And I still remember that's when Twilio initiated a survey, which was a company-wide survey for everyone. And from that survey, they were utilizing their listening strategy to understand that what Twilians feel about getting back to office. And when the survey happened, and the results were like literally shocked us. Like I would say, I still remember 88% Twilians actually felt more empowered and more productive while working remotely. 90% of Twillion actually strongly believe that they can create an impact irrespective of location. And that's when our leadership understood that, okay, this is the right opportunity for them to reshape our culture. And that's when we got into the remote first, how do you say, remote first culture. Okay, so that's when remote working started. And for again, for every country it has a different rules and regulations. So for an example, if we talk about India, in India, Twilio has registrations in 5 states, which means as long as you are based out in Maharashtra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Delhi, and Karnataka, you can work remotely. And this is the kind of flexibility we give to all of our employees. And this has been working pretty well for us. We might not have future plans to expand to other states as well, but right now we feel that most of our clients are currently from these major 5 states, and they are working remotely. And now to answer to your questions, Richard, I do understand while working remotely, there are a lot of challenges. Challenges as in you have to manage your work-life balance. Because when you are office, you're supposed to work, you go back, you shut down your laptop, and then you don't think about work. But it's not like that. Here, we work in a flexible hours, but also we make sure that we are building the right connections. We are also available for each others whenever they are in need. So we like if I talk about my team, we are a very small nucleus team, but we always make sure that we are connected either through Slack, through Zoom, through emails. Doesn't matter. We are connected, right? And now, how we encourage this culture? These are the 3 examples you can see on the screen. As a company, Twilio provides fixed 2 company-wide breaks, which ranges from like 5 days to 7 days, which means the whole company is on break. Although it's an optional, but I feel that 70 to 80% Twilians actually make use of this break. These breaks takes place once in April, once in December. And the whole company is non-functioning that time, except few of the critical teams, right? Because we are also providing a lot of supports for messaging, voice, and all. So that is important. But again, company-wide break is something which we always love because these are the free holidays that you're getting, right? Now, the second thing is we also make sure that our employees are not working their, how do you say, again, not working tirelessly, so that they are not busy in like back-to-back meetings, because right, we all are working remotely. The only way we can connect through each other is through meetings only. But if you are like spending half of your day in meetings, when are you able to work? So for that, we have no meetings Friday. We make sure that we are not conducting any sort of meetings in those Fridays until unless it's like super urgent, and we strictly follow that. The last thing what you can see is hub program. So basically, it's Twilio's hub programs, which means that if any office location of Twilio has more than 75 employees, that will be considered as one of the Twilio hub, and they will have some hub leaders and the hub team. Like I myself is part of the Twilio's India's Hub Council, and we are responsible for arranging these activities, these on-site events, hybrid events for all of our Twilians to make sure that they are not just working, they are also having fun. They are also able to build connections through these events. And we are basically the organizer of these events. And we make sure that throughout the year, we are conducting multiple events. Like for an example, we have our end of the year party coming in. right? So we always make sure that we are planning something for our on-site audience, which is for those who are able to physically travel to Bangalore. But we also make sure that we have some activities plans for our hybrid audience or virtual audience who are working remotely from these states. So that's all about our culture. We strongly promote remote culture since we are also into the cloud communication space. But again, this has been working really well for me as well personally. So I am like a super fan of remote work culture.
Oh, no, awesome. That's amazing. The holiday thing is really uh, groundbreaking because you are catering to a 500,000 messages every day. You are catering to more than 300,000 clients and impacting billions of lives globally. And yet the whole company, if they can take a break, it shows to the world that anyone can manage that work-life balance and still build successful, impactful products. So it's a trendsetter and it's an amazing initiative that you guys have pioneered. And no meeting Fridays. Yes, of course, we would love to have one of those days. We were brooding over the fact that we should have no meeting Wednesdays, but it's really challenging to create that kind of an environment. And you guys are again trailblazing that. So that's brilliant. And the thing that all the people are waiting for, like, hey, what are the job opportunities open right now for me? Let's dive into the current openings that Sameer is hiring for, and not just current openings, but some of the roles that can come up in the future as well, right? So basically, what kind of roles Sameer's team kind of looks for, and at any point in time, any passive opportunity can move into active and vice versa. But we have both categorized, and probably Samir can share some insights on some of those.
All right. Okay. So again, really excited to get into this slide as well. Job opportunities, because that's what we do. That's what my team does, right? So before I get uh, uh, into more details, let me tell you how Twilio functions in three different domains, which is R&D function, GNA function, and GTM functions. I think most of the openings, what you can see is from the R&D function, but we do have some openings going on in our go-to-market domain, which is GTM. And basically, we hire for roles as in customer success, account executives, account managers, technical account managers, tech supports. And again, like when I'm talking about tech support, it's not just a tech support where you're just calling and solving customers' problem. We are more of a tech support where we will expect these engineers to work in a development environment where they are working very closely with developers and helping to solve our customers' problem, right? So we have a lot of opportunities in GTM. Now comes our GNA, which is general and administration. In that domain, we have a lot of openings around like accountants, tax accountants, cash application, accounts payable, accounts receivable. Uh, we have internal auditors, incident commanders, all these roles which are into the GNA space. We do hire for those roles as well. If you want to know more, please go and visit our career website. And I think Uplers have also posted some of the jobs on their platform. So please make use of it. So that's all about our GTM, and GNA now comes to the R&D because that's the more major chunk of our work. So in R&D function, if you can see, these are the active roles what we are hiring right now. The first one is software engineer L3. Whenever a role comes as an L3, this is a senior software engineer role in Twilio, and we ideally look for like 4 to 6 or 4 to 7 years of experience range in a candidate. And the software engineer roles will be ranging from front end, back end, full stack. Depends like what kind of hiring we are doing. But if you will go to the job description, you will be able to understand whether it's a front end role, whether it's a back end role, whether it's full stack role. Same goes with our another opening, which is a staff machine learning engineer. This role is open for one of our account security team. I would say this is one of the coolest team I personally admire because I did supported this team in hiring, and what I believe, like the leader of this team says that the kind of exposure what they provide to their engineers, even Google does not provide that. I should not be speaking that very high, but this is the exact same words of our hiring managers of this team, that they provide a really great exposure to all of our engineers who are joining this team. And this is a staff level, which means it's a level 4 role. And in this role, we look for a candidate who has experience ranging from like 7 years up to like 10 or 11 years. And it's a machine engineering role, so we focus a lot on like machine learning models, how well they are incorporating the other machine learning strategies. And again, we always look for a hands-on experience. So as long as you have that, you have solved some of the challenging problems of your customers by utilizing your machine learning skills. That's what we need. So feel free to apply for that. If you have experience between 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 years, we would be happy to consider your profile. The next role is again another staff software engineer role. And I think this role is more of a combination of a DevOps and automation skills, where we are looking for a candidate having expertise in its infrastructure, logging, tracing, and monitoring, along with that, automations like Python or Go. Somebody who are capable of writing these automation codes, good with SRE, we will be happy to consider your profile. The next role is basically a principal engineer role, which is a level 5 role. And this is the role where we look for a candidate with 11 or 12 plus years of overall experience. And it's a heavy backend role, which means we are looking for strong programming experience. We are looking for strong designing experience. We are looking for some solid cloud. So as a Twilio, we use AWS, but we are open to consider candidates with other clouds as well, GCP, Azure, and in this role is basically with our segmenting, which is a customer data platform. So if you have the right skill set, please feel free to apply for this role. Coming to the passive job openings. So yes, these are the job openings which we have seen throughout this year, and we will continue to hire in the next upcoming years as well. So fraud ops, cybersecurity roles, tech program managers, tech product managers, DevOps engineers, data scientists. We hire across all these goals. So if you are the right person, if you are exploring new opportunities, continue checking our career page. And as soon as you come across any opening, please apply. And you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn as well for reference. So yes, I'll take a quick pause. Any questions, Richard?
Yeah, we have a few questions from the audiences. But one thing I
Yeah, sure.
would have in their minds, and I'm just rehashing what Sameer said here. There are multiple ways to apply for a job at Twilio. For everyone who is attending this session, we will be sending you an email and a WhatsApp once the session ends with all the respective links from where you can apply. And it will reach to the team at Twilio, and they'll be more than happy to consider the shortlisted profiles. So just bear with us for that. In the meantime, let's also look at a few questions that the people have asked, right? So is this interview process same for mid-senior or senior level developers? Does it change across the levels?
I think I did touch base on this during the previous slide. So definitely it differs from level to level, role to role, even from hiring manager to hiring manager. So there are some hiring managers, they would like to see some certain skill set, and based on that, we design the interview plan for them. So ideally, like if you are interviewing for a level 3 role, you will have one hacker rank round, you will have one tech screen round, and then out of that, you will have like 3 to 4 rounds of face-to-face interviews. And all these interviews takes place virtually through Zoom call.
Yep. And then there was one question around the duration. So, do these happen in a 3 to 5 hour single stretch window, or it happens over
No,
three to?
it's quite flexible. So we give this opportunity to our candidates to go and select times from our hiring manager's calendar. We share our hiring manager's calendar with them, and based on their availability and hiring manager's availability, they can agree on a common time and they can meet each other.
Awesome.
So
So,
not necessary that if you have like 4 to 5 rounds, you have to complete all 4 rounds in a day. You can have it one today, one tomorrow. And again, like as per your schedule and flexibility. But again, we always prefer if a candidate is, if they are actively looking, we encourage them to complete the all rounds of interviews within a week.
awesome. Yeah, I think strike the iron when it's hot, right? Don't don't lose time.
Yes.
That's uh, a no-brainer. So there is another question, which is a pretty a subjective one. So, what advice would you give to professionals who are looking to join a company like Twilio or any other similar company? So basically, the person wants to know, are there any specific strategies or skills which can help them stand out in the process?
Sure, happy to answer. So it's very important, guys, like for which company you are interviewing for which role you are interviewing for. I would always encourage you to do your proper research before applying for roles. I would also like to talk about one of the common challenges I think all the companies and talent team is facing right now is we receive a lot of applications. And most of these applications, I would say like 70% of these applications are irrelevant because what active job seeker does that sometimes they get into a desperate mode and they apply to all the roles XYZ, all the roles they coming across on their LinkedIn, on their job board. So I would say stop doing that, guys. Go through the job description first. That's your guide to understand whether it's the right fit for you or not. If you are just blindly applying to the roles, these are not going to give you anything because there is a recruiter sitting there, they are a hiring team, they are going to strictly evaluate you on those skills. And if you do not have that skills, it's going to be pretty hard for you to qualify for that interview. And at the end of the day, you are just wasting your time and the company's time as well. So be very mindful before you are applying to any role. Always go through the job description, always do the research about that company. I would say before you apply to that company, or maybe like even after you apply to that company, if you know that you have interviews coming up in next 7 days or next 1 week, make sure that you are also looking for some of the ideal profiles. Like if you have applied for a software engineer role at Twilio, you go and see some of the LinkedIn profiles of our software engineers. That will kind of give you an idea like what sort of certifications they have done, what sort of skill set they have, why they are at Twilio, what sort of education degree they have, what sort of courses they have done in the past, right? And they also write about their projects. So that will give you some sort of understanding that, okay, if you want to become a software engineer in Twilio or maybe in any other company, these are the must-have skill set in your profile. If you do not have that, brush up your skills. There are a lot of resources available on internet. There are a lot of mentorship guiding programs are available. Make use of it. Some of them are free of cost. Some of them are like on a monetary basis as well. But again, based on your convenience, do the proper research before applying to a company. And the one thing most of the candidate miss out is they do not read about the values of the company. Like I have spoken about the magic values of Twilio, the other companies also have their strong core values. So make sure that you are going through those values. And the last but not the least, build a strong relationship with your recruiter. Follow what recruiter says. If your recruiter is asking you to brush up on some skill set, some specific skill set, please do that. Please take these online assessments seriously, right? We strictly monitor the plagiarism. So if you are trying to be smart, we know, right? We will be easily able to catch you on those pointers, right? So make sure that you are being honest with your recruiter, you are getting all the understanding from your recruiter, and you are following what they are saying because they are part of that employee. They always want to think good about yourself. That's the reason they are in touch with you, right? So these are some top things I would say you should follow when you're applying for any roles and interviewing for any companies.
Awesome, brilliant, and such a basic thing, but yet we almost always tend to let it slip through, right? Looking at the JD and aligning ourselves with that JD, whatever skills are not there, developing those skills and then applying. So nowadays, it's so easy to just click on that button and your application goes through and doesn't kind of give you results, but yet we do it. Yeah, but such an easy thing, yet we miss a lot of time. So thanks for bringing that up, Samir. There's another question which talks about the technical product manager or technical project manager, right? So at Twilio we discussed about our software engineering roles at all levels, but share some light on the technical project manager profile. What is expected from those particular profiles?
Sure, sure. So let me first cover the technical program manager. So in technical program manager, by the name itself, you can understand that we need some tech expertise in this profile, right? Although you are a program manager, but you are supposed to have some tech expertise because at the end of the day, you're working along with a group of developers. right? So what technical program manager does for our organization is they are the one who makes sure that they are managing multiple global teams. Basically, we call them as a Scrum team. So they should be a good Scrum master. On top of it, they should have all the project management expertise as well. Being a program manager, it is not just limited to managing Scrum teams. Will need to also manage some projects. You will have to do retrospective. You will have to do backlog cleaning. There are a lot of other aspects of being a program manager, like you should have some tool-based experience as well. So the ideal profile, what we consider for Twilio is either you have started your career as a software engineer or maybe with a technical role, and later you have switched into a project management or a program management or a Scrum master kind of a role. They are the ideal profile for us. So this technical program manager role, what we hire is for level 3 and level 4. And I think for level 3, we look for 4 to 7 years of experience. And for level 4, we look for like 8 to 12 years of experience in a candidate. Now coming to the technical product manager. So again, these are basically the product managers who manages our customers, right? So again, by the name, you can understand that this is also going to be into a tech. So the ideal candidate for tech product manager is somebody who has started off their career as a software engineer, IT consultant, and then after a couple of years, they moved into a product management domain where they are managing an entire landscape of the product. They are solving customers' queries, and then they are making the right ask and setting up the right expectations with their developers. So the experience range remains same for this role as well, and this is what we look in a candidate.
Oh, awesome. Just curious to know, different companies have
Yes.
different this division in the technical project manager roles, right? Few companies have, let's say, 10 to 20% coding requirements, as in that project manager does need to have 10 to 15% coding so that he can stay abreast with what's going on. But a lot of times there is no coding requirement as such, right? So at Twilio, if someone wants to keep in touch with that coding thing, does 10 to 15% responsibility also includes coding, or coding is not a part of
I'm going to make that easy for you, Richard. Okay. First of all, when we are hiring technical program manager, we clearly know that we are not hiring coders.
okay.
So we expect you to have that knowledge of coding because maybe down the line there might be a situation where you will have to sit with a developer to understand. Maybe the customers are making an unrealistic ask, right? And if you have that technical knowledge, you can pitch in that, okay, this is not the right ask. So we definitely don't expect our product managers to sit and code because we have developers and coders for that, but definitely we prefer them to have that understanding of the coding. If there are bugs, they are able to identify those bugs in the code or during the production.
Awesome. So yeah, that pretty straightforward, cleared it. What do you think is the influence of AI in the hiring talent acquisition space? Has AI kind of already pitched in into Twilio's hiring process? Is it going to change anything in the future? What's your thoughts?
Okay, so Ruchir, I would say we are uh, so AI is something as a company like Twilio is definitely promoting, right? We had our ChatGPT ex-CEO who came to our Signal as well, right? But when it comes to the talent acquisition, I would say we are still at very preliminary stages to explore these field in AI. Although like we are exploring such opportunities, we are exploring such tools, but I would say we are like just a beginner in AI because I know it can solve a lot of our problem, but I feel that recruiting is one of the function where human touch is required. You cannot replace everything with an AI, right? Although I personally like admire AI, I love to follow AI, but again, at the end of the day, I feel that recruitment is one of the role where human touch is really important and that matters. We can solve a lot of issues in terms of our bandwidth challenges, in terms of our like workload. We can solve those challenges with an AI, but at the end of the day, we still want our recruiters to get into a phone call with our customer, our candidates.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, people work with people, and that's not going to change. Only the effectiveness will be augmented. True that.
Yes.
Uh, Another question is about the degree, right? So, do if a candidate has that experience and expertise and has built something, right, follows your magic values and has the technical skill set, is it still required that that person needs to have a certain degree, or even a commerce graduate who has the knowledge and the values will be able to get a job at Twilio in a technical role?
Sure. So Rachit, I would say this again varies from case to case. I have seen in the past some hiring managers hiring engineers without degrees as well. So I think the best way to understand whether this role requires a degree or not, go through the job description. In the job description, if it is written that in lieu of degree, if experience is mentioned, which means you are good to apply for that role. So again, case to case basis, we change our approach. But I would say like 70 to 80% of the roles what I see in Twilio does require a technical degree or diploma. But again, feel free to go through the job description to understand whether it requires degree or not.
Got it. Um, is there a bench concept in Twilio, like how they have in service companies? Is there any someone who is not on that product building team, or like are there anyone on the bench?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
No, we don't follow that.
Yep. And adding to that particular question, right? There are people who in from service-based companies who kind of want to be in that service-based company and want to jump into product companies. What advice would you give to those people who want to move from service to product? Because skill sets required are completely different. It's very different, right?
All right. So I won't say that our hiring managers are not open to consider candidates from service-based company, but if you see the trend, like what we have seen in the past, that most of the employees who are coming from service-based companies have failed to even clear our hacker rank test, right? So that is the very first evaluation where they get failed. So we are open to consider candidates from service-based companies as long as they are bringing the right values up to the table. They have hands-on experience with the skill set and the technology what we are looking for. And again, those builder qualities, if they are able to build something from the scratch or have that right experience, we are open to consider those candidates as well.
Awesome. Brilliant. The last two questions that we'll take, respecting
Sure.
time. So is there any advice that you want to give for someone who is willing to switch a domain, like a QA automation tester, or someone from the testing domain wanting to move to development? What are your advice for those people?
Okay, so I think this is one of the questions I often hear from the candidates or from my network as well, right? So maybe like if you have a QA background, you know you want to get into a development. First, gain the right certifications and gain the right knowledge. Certification and knowledge will again not give you the hands-on exposure, but they will open up some of the doors. And that's when you feel when you are equipped with that knowledge, with the right knowledge of development you start applying for the junior companies or maybe like the small scale companies first rather than like directly applying for a company like Microsoft or Google. So if you want to change your domain, start something from the scratch. Build more connections so that you will have more opportunities and connection building can easily happen through LinkedIn. Make sure that you are adding the right talent acquisition folks in your LinkedIn profile and you are reaching out to them with a case study that why you feel that you are qualifying for the role. Like you can talk about your certifications, you can talk about your recent gains. Like I'm not asking you to prepare a cover letter, but I'm asking you to prepare a very small template for all the recruiters, whichever companies you want to apply for. And based on that, again, it is not something which will happen over a day that you will reach out to one person, they will accept and they will consider you for the company. This is a consistent process, right? There are millions of companies are there, right? They are open to hire software engineers. So it's just that you have to look for that right opportunity. So continue applying for those roles if you want to do a domain switch. Keep some mentors with you. Like for an example, if you are a QA engineer in a company, but you have like some good mentors from the product-based organizations who are the developers, try to understand that how you can learn what kind of responsibilities they are leading which you feel as a gap in your profile. How well can you articulate your questions during the interview because you do not have any experience in development, but you have that right knowledge. So how well you can apply that knowledge to solve their problems. Always aim for that. During the interview, always ask this question that what is something which you want to follow or which you want to solve by hiring this person in your team.
No, no, absolutely. I think we got the same question in our session with GitLab as well, where it was the same thing that whatever, once you have that expertise, first of all, it's critical to have that expertise. Based on that, you need to
Yes.
gain some experience, even if it's an in-house or a small personal project, but show that you have done something, built something, and then reach out to people, and there'll always be people who will be willing to lend that helping hand to you. But you have to first prove your worth to them.
Ask for
So
referrals. Yeah. Ask for referrals from your network.
absolutely true. And the last question for the day that we take. But don't worry, guys. Samir will be there on our Discord, and he'll always be accessible on LinkedIn as well. And there'll be whenever he'll get a chance, he'll be more than happy to interact with you guys. But the question that we end the session with today is we discussed about people having 4 to 7 years of experience, up to 12, 15 years of experience, even managers. But what about people who are just graduating out of college, right? They have great skills, but they do not have any formal experience, right? How do they get a chance to start their careers in companies like Video? Your thoughts on that?
Sure. I think my answer is going to be pretty much same here. So first of all, just for your understanding that we do hire candidates at P1. We just look for like 0 to 1 years of experience, like 6 months of experience as well. But again, like depends on role to role. But if you are a newbie, you just graduated and because of some reason, like you could not get the right campus placement, that's when you should look out for the exciting internship opportunities. That's one way of exploring new opportunities because that can open up a lot of doors for you to get into these product based companies. That's one. The second thing is like explore your LinkedIn, create a very strong connections with the talent acquisition folks around the industry. If you are want to apply for Uplers, for an example, connect with Ruchir, connect with the talent acquisition folks of Uplers. Tell them that okay, what you can bring up to the table as a skill set. Why do you want to join Uplers? Prepare that template, what I just spoke about, right? So again, ongoing process, keep on adding right folks in your LinkedIn and then keep on reaching out to them for the available opportunities and follow their posts as well. There will be a lot of times when you will not see those roles getting posted on their company page, but maybe a recruiter might be posting that, okay, they are hiring for software engineers, junior software engineers or associate software engineers. And that's when you should ask for a referral or you can directly apply for that role.
Yep, no, absolutely. Very, very true. Uh, so, so yeah, really, really appreciate all the insights you gave us, Samir. They're really, really gold dust, right? I mean, pure gold. Uh, Truly grateful for that. Thank you. You took the time out to help the community grow, to help our tech community become more and more employable and get better remote opportunities as well. Really appreciate that. Thank you everyone who tuned in today. We are really grateful that you could join us today. There are a couple of next steps which we have, but rest assured we would be sharing those details over WhatsApp and email as well with all of you guys. Stay in touch. Happy to conduct more such sessions and happy to have Samir engage with us for many more such insightful sessions going forward. We'll be sharing across all the recordings and many other materials on our LinkedIn, via emails, and on our other social media platforms as well. So stay tuned, and looking forward to conducting and seeing you guys again soon. With that, thanks a ton, Samir. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ruchir, and thanks a ton to you and your team for organizing this. Like, I was super amazed to see this Remote Revolution series. I'm going to personally follow this series. So thank you so much for conducting everything, and thanks a ton to your team as well for organizing this session.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Signing off for the night. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.